Okay, hi, this is a video to demonstrate the current bug I'm seeing with bitswap and the preload nodes. I have a little script here. What we're doing is we create an IPFS node and it's set up to only have one bootstrap node, and the bootstrap node that it's going to connect to is so this is a locally running IPFS daemon. And is QMNCR, and we have set it up to be listening on WebSockets at this address. So this is the same address that we want to connect to. So we've set it up to connect to one Bootstrap node. We have enabled Bootstrap discovery, but we've disabled other discovery methods that are available in the browser. So really, when we start up this node, it should only be able to connect to this one other node. And we're specifying the repo here as well, so that we make sure that we get a fresh repo each time, which ensures there's nothing in it. So the thing that I'm going to get later definitely won't be there. So it will have to get it from a new node. So what we do is we wait for IPFS to be ready. We're just logging out this ID, and then we just wait for IPFS to connect to that Bootstrap node. And once it's connected, we try and get hold of this piece of content. So this CID is available in the Bootstrap node. In the Bootstrap node, in my local node here, it's just got "Hello World" as some example content. And so we use IPFS cat to try and get hold of that data, and then we just log it out. So in the browser, this looks something like, let me just start it up again. So boots IPFS gets ready, we log out the ID, we wait to be connected to the node, we get connected, we run IPFS cat, and we then somehow get hold of that content and we log it out. If we look at the logs, so I'm using, so if in the browser what you can do is you can set localstorage.debug to star, and I'm removing latency monitor logs and P2P connection manager logs because they are a bit noisy and not relevant to what we're talking about here. So this is just JS booting up, blah, 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 blah. It eventually, here we go, starting, it eventually gets booted, here we go. So after we're booted, this is when the ready event is fired. And so what JS does is it sends off a preload request to the preload nodes. This isn't used here, so it's fine, but we see that this is just proving that the preload nodes also have this content, because we should get a response to that at some point. Here we go, preloaded. So that's that piece of content that we preloaded. So where were we? Get back up again. Here we go, booted. Anyway, so we say, so we've got bitswap logs here. This I think is just not a problem, because it's just saying that there's no DHT available, and that's true. There's no DHT in this version of JS and we're saying we want a block, and a block gets added to the want list, and we simultaneously we're connecting to libp2p is connecting to my node, my locally running node, which is this QMNCR node, and it's successfully encrypted, selecting protocols, successfully marked. But then eventually bitswap sends a message which has its want list, and then some other things happen, but eventually I think we get a message to say that let's just see if I can find the next bitswap log line. Bitswap connection. Okay, so eventually bitswap gets a block, which is great, and I'm guessing that's the block that it wanted. Yeah, I think that's it. But we get the block, and then we are able to log it out. Okay, so what we can do now is we can do the same thing. So the only difference here is this address that we're going to connect to. It's going to be our Bootstrap address is going to be the preload nodes. And the only real difference that I can see here is that we are connecting to a different port and we're using WebSocket Secure, not WebSocket Regular or Reg WebSocket. So extra layer of encryption, don't know, that's unlikely to be a problem in my opinion. So save that, and then we do exactly the same thing. So we're going to try and get this CID, but at the preload node. So here we go. Right, so the same thing happens. We wait to be connected to the preload node. It takes a little bit longer, but it eventually gets connected, which is great. And then we start running IPFS cat, but we still haven't received a response. And if we look in the logs, let's get to that point at which JS IPFS is booted. We should see here we go, preload, that got fired off, and if we actually click on this we can see that the preload, we know that the preload nodes have this content already, because when we request this we get a 200, so this is just saying it's a syntax error because it's ND-JSON, there's no content. But yeah, it's 200, there's only one, I'm not actually expecting any content because it's not big enough to be chunked up. It's all in this one CID. So we know it's on the preload nodes. I also know that if I go to this on the gateways also have it. So like this content is available on these preload nodes, but for some reason IPFS cat for this content when connected to these preload nodes is not. I'm not getting that block. So if we have a look down, booted, we can scroll down to, let's have a look at some bitswap logs if we can find any. Bitswap, so that's that find provider thing, that's the DHT I think. So we're saying this is where we're asking for the block. We send a message to our, so ZM is, yeah, ZMX, QMZMX, that is the preload node, and we're sending it our want list as we did before, and this sort of happens, but I don't know if this could be a problem. Preload got the content, so it should be there. So we're getting a lot of this unexpected input. I wasn't sure, I don't think I was seeing that for the other one. But we successfully perform handshakes. And then I think we never get this block. I think we're sending another message now for the same thing. We're getting IPNS messages now. Yeah, so next bitswap, here we go. Yeah, we're sending again our want list. So this is slightly different to, I remember doing this before, and I remember actually seeing messages from the preload node to me, but I don't seem to be seeing that here. Send message, like it seems like I'm sending things, but they're not coming back. Yeah, this is a whole load of junk. Alright, and that's the end. So there we are. Any help fixing this would be very much appreciated. Bye!